Welcome back, darlings. I am, of course, your host, Lord Belmont Shores. I am told this week's film strip is an exceptional one, so settle in with me as we watch and see what can be learned from 1963's Kiss of the Vampire. To drink along with the locals, this week's drink will be...
brandy and sour cream.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I would never make you drink that. No, this week's drink will be Zimmer's Revenge. Yes, this one hits you right where it hurts, in the head and the pocketbook. Whoa! I mean, can you even believe that shit? Wow. All right. No. Start at the beginning. Wait. Let's not start at the beginning. Let's start like a James Bond movie. Action media res, which is Latin for in the middle. That's what my director told me. Anyway, let's start with some creepy funeral stalking.
Misericordiam cum patribus nostris et memorare testamenti sui sancti.
I suppose he's been drinking again.
Patrem nostrum, datorem se nobis, ut sine timore, de manum.
Oh, and I definitely want to preface this. If you didn't watch the movie, if you didn't pause this and go watch the movie, go watch the movie. It's one of my favorites. I love it. You gotta check it out. This Hammer movie starts out a little bit later than most. We're in the early 1900s. Let's say hello to couple number one, Marianne and Gerald. They're newlyweds driving down the countryside, and they happen to pull a couple of strings and get the picture car from Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
As I was saying, I think we need some petrol.
We all know about the sleazy trope where you pretend to run out of gas so you can get a little something on the side of the road. That is not what Gerald is doing here. I mean, just look at how not sexy this is.
I'm sorry, it was my fault, darling. These roads twist so it's impossible to follow them.
It's not your fault.
Can you believe there was a time before sex in cars? God, how many generations never got to have sex in the back of a car? He's a peeping Tom. So finally the tow truck driver arrives. Spoiler alert, it's a horse. They get to the hotel. Gerald tries to get a little information from the tow truck driver, who isn't the horse, the guy pulling the horse. Even gives him like a little bit of money. Try to grease the wheels, you know what I mean?
No one ever comes in, sir.
Why not? Why not?
Good night, sir.
And the guy still doesn't give anything up. I mean, you don't always get what you pay for. You don't always get what you pay for.
Why can't you leave us alone?
We wondered if you might have a room.
A room? You want a room?
Yes, for the night.
Oh, you're strangers then, huh?
We've mentioned this before, people. Red flag number one, if you go to a business and that business cannot perform literally the task with which they are purposed, you probably want to peace out. Those places are usually mob fronts. And if not, then vampires.
Well,
Doesn't it look like they're about to break into a musical number about how shitty this hotel is? A carriage pulls up to the hotel with an invitation for the couple to join the prestigious Dr. Ravna at his house Now, I gotta say, if you're gonna give somebody a dinner invitation, it's a good move to slam the dinner they're about to eat at the hotel they're staying at, which Dr. Ravna does.
And extend an invitation to dine with me tonight. You will find the food at the hotel at... Well, I'll skip that bit.
My wife is a good woman, but a cook.
And you get an invitation to the hottest spot in town, Dr. Ravna's dinner party. Now, you got two choices. One, stay around and get cock-blocked by Bruno all night on your honeymoon. Or, two, show your wife a great time at the chateau. Castle? Castle. Definitely a castle. Chateau. Sorry, not a castle. Chateau.
It's only a model.
Right away, I fall in love with the interior decorations. I mean, you got wall weapons. And you know, I am a sucker for wall weapons. If you got a wall, put a sword, an axe, a flail, even a shield. I don't know, some kind of wall weapon goes a long way with me. Call me old-fashioned. I love it.
And now, may I introduce my children to you? My daughter, Sabina.
As you do.
And Carl, my son.
And some vampires will mesmerize you, and then some vampires are literal rock stars. Case in point, Carl. Totally mesmerizing. She's seen him tickle the ivories, and she's like, ah. If you brought your wife, bad move.
Marianne, are you feeling all right?
Please don't stop.
Oh, she's definitely going backstage.
Will you play some more for us?
Something of your own, perhaps, Carl?
Certainly, Father.
No Carl, no new stuff, no covers. Taking care of business right now. Skip ahead to working overtime. I needs me spinach. Professor Zimmer, he comes to the graveyard, right? Great. Perfect place to stake out for vampire activity. And he sees what? Tanya, who is the daughter of the innkeeper. Doesn't try to kill her. Doesn't try to disable her. In fact, because he took half measures, she comes up on him and is able to bite him in the wrist. He had his guard down, and he paid the price. Goes back to his lair, pours some alcohol on it, and throws it over some cleansing fire. Burn out the impurities, burn out the curse, burn out the evil. Then he passes out. That's what happens when you take half measures. So we jump in on Carl and Marianne running the line like they're the dance champions on solid gold. Nobody's got the moves to step to them. After their dance battle victory, Carl switches masks into the same mask that Marianne's husband was wearing and lures her upstairs to get Me Too'd by Dr. Reb.
Where are we going?
Have you ever been that asshole who's crashed at a party when they're not supposed to, and you wake up and realize, like, oh yeah, everybody's gone home and I'm the only one here who passed out?
What's happened to the party?
This guy.
Marianne? Carl, thank goodness.
And now, time for the Gaslighting Olympics.
What do you mean someone called Marianne? You know who she is.
I do not know.
You saw me come here with my wife, didn't you?
You came alone, sir.
Bruno! My wife! My wife. My wife.
My wife.
My wife!
What wife, sir?
When he starts to try and get to the bottom of things, they threaten to release the hounds on him.
If you keep away from here, we'll set the dogs on you.
Release the hounds. Just as the Gaslighting Olympics are coming to an end, we go into Professor Zimmer room and he's like, oh yeah, oh no, you definitely have a wife. You went to the party with her and they kidnapped her.
She's disappeared.
I know she's been kept in the chateau.
Then he just drops a giant bomb on him, which I love. He's like, yep, your wife got kidnapped, tons of vampires in the chateau, and oh yeah, we can't go right now, which would seem to be the best time to go get her.
God.
And we go back to the chateau and we see everyone engaged in a back rub daisy chain. Hey, you get it, you know? I mean, if you're gonna join a cult, that seems like a pretty good perk. In order to get into the chateau, they ring the doorbell, they do like a ding-dong ditch. One of the servants comes out and he drops on him and does like a judo chop. And we're talking Captain Kirk, James Bond judo chop. Waka! Knocks him right out. Goes inside.
Where is she?
Your charming wife, she is here, quite safe and happy. What are you going to do about it, Mr. Harcourt?
And he's like, yep, got your wife. Oh, you want to go back home with him? No? Oh, you hate his guts? Prove it to me. Spit in his face, and she does. Oh, man, that really gets him all steamed up. That gets him fighting mad. So what's he do? Kicks the bodyguard in the shin with a wooden stool, and then whacks him in the head, grabs his wife, runs outside. That's a pretty good move. We find out Dr. Zimmer has been putting distillation of garlic on all of the possible doors and windows, thus trapping all the vampires inside. Now, if you look at the distillation of garlic, it looks like there's a little bit of ash mixed in there. It could be the ash you get on Ash Wednesday, which is just the burned palm fronds from Palm Sunday. You got a little bit of garlic, plus a little bit of holy relic. All right, it's time to talk about Professor Zimmer. Now listen, I have met a lot of vampire hunters in my day. I mean a lot. He literally went places that I would never think about going as a vampire hunter. He used techniques and methods that I wouldn't touch. This man turned to the dark side and he went there fast.
She ran away from home. Ran away to the city. She drifted in with a so-called smart set, and finally she was living with a certain man. Well, she came home eventually. What was left of her came home.
Drop it like it's plot. Drop it like it's plot. Watching this guy through the whole movie, I wasn't quite sure where he was coming from. We got some bad vampire hunting advice, but then it all makes sense. He didn't just want to take out one of them. He didn't even want to just take out the leader. Oh, no. He wanted all of them.
I've been planning this night ever since I traced Ravner to the chateau. From these medieval old books, I've pieced together the details of a ceremony. It is a way of forcing evil to destroy itself. Ravner and all his acolytes are trapped in the chateau. Tonight I shall destroy them all.
What ceremony?
A ceremony known as Corpus Diabolo Levitum.
Corpus Diabolo Levitum. Clatu Verata. This is not an easy incantation or spell to just cast. You don't just decide, yeah, what's a good day to do this? I mean, it does have to be a good day to do this. There's exact specifications for it. But
The ceremony to be performed when the moon is full and Capricorn in conjunction with Saturn, as it is tonight.
did you hear that incantation? I mean, he was like a calling all cars.
In the name of the great god Alpha, in the name of the mighty Beelzebub.
Hey, Beelzebub, he throws up a Hail Satan. Like, you looking, you listening? Get on it. He called in an airstrike. Now, what this spell does is it brought down a horde of bats. I mean, we're talking a horde, a gaggle, a flock, a murder, a school, a congress, a lot, a pod, a conflagration. Did I say gaggle? I said gaggle. What's it called when it's like a group of rabid cannibalistic vampire bats unleashed right from the fiery teat of Beelzebub?
Oh, I think it's a splooge.
So Professor Zimmer unloads an entire splooge. Oh.
Oh, I think we got it there.
Once again, I need my spinach. Who farted? All right, so let's wrap it up here. On a scale of bit to lit, I would say this movie is definitely lit. All right, from a practical knowledge point of view, number one, clean the wound. Now, we saw him take a bite from a vampire. Is it possible that he's going to turn into a vampire from one little bite? Probably not, but you know what? You don't want to take any chances. There could be some poison or some venom in there, and different vampires do different things. Whether it's alcohol and fire or holy water, make sure you do everything you can to try to clean the wound. That way it doesn't come back to bite you later on. Number two, contain the threat. Now, as we see here, Professor Zimmer uses his distillation of garlic to seal off all the exits to the chateau. You see, with vampires, sometimes you gotta play the long game. If they're not going anywhere, then you have a lot of time to plan on what to do and how to deal with them. Number three, the left-hand path. Sometimes when you're desperate, you gotta think outside the box. You gotta fight fire with fire. Sometimes in order to kill a demon, you gotta go right to the devil.
Right to the devil. Go right to the devil. Go right to the devil. Right to the devil.
So in the end, with the destruction of the vampires, Professor Zimmer has his grand revenge. Gerald and Marianne live happily ever after, both agreeing never to tell their children about the weekend their mother was seduced into a vampire sex cult. Until next time, he throws up a Hail Satan!